doesn't really matter what it is as long as you're present with it. Also, the unpleasantness.
It reminds me of letting go of resistance. Your mind wandering into stories, distractions. Being present is kind of an investment. Taking a step back and analyzing like, wait, what's going on inside me? And that's the moment when you can just decide different things. Welcome back!
Welcome
to our, let's just say our second English podcast. Today, the subject we want to talk about is actually really related to our previous podcast, in which we talk about that the narratives in your brain, the story in your brain that's going on, usually most probably daily, in which stories where you tell yourself people are having opinions about you and are thinking negative things about you. And actually you create those stories in your brain and you go about during the day with those stories, and as a consequence you make choices based on those stories. Meanwhile, you can just hijack your brain, just to stop the stories and just in the end completely transform your life and how you look towards life and the people in it. So that's basically a summary of our last podcast. And so today we want to talk about one of the ways to cut the stories in your brain is to be present in the moment. So today we want to talk about being present, which is actually a means to break the stories in your brain, but also a very broad topic, just in general in life, to be present. So we've been practicing that also. You can be present in different ways, but we really want to talk about like the advantages that it brings you, how we trained ourselves to be present and how it's still going on now, how that never stops because you change, you have different phases in your life, which requires maybe being present in different ways. Also, so the process towards it, also the struggles towards it, the misconceptions, I think, also about being present in the moment, because maybe some people think that it means you completely stop thinking about your future and like as if you don't care about your future at all, and you only make choices that make you feel good in the moment itself. Which of course isn't true. That's not what being present in the moment means actually. So basically we're also discussing what being present in the moment means too.
Yeah, indeed. Which actually is quite paradoxical in a way. Yeah. Because then you're zooming out of a present moment to look at a present moment.
Well, is being meta present?
Oh my god, yeah. Nice. Cool.
Okay, so we do that, and along the way I think we try to just summarize just tips and tricks and to be present. Maybe we should start with what actually being present means. Like, what do you think being present means? Because I know you read books of Eckhart Tolle about what's it called?
The power of now. Yeah, the power of now. Yeah.
You have Andrew Huberman also talking about that stuff in his podcast about happiness.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very interesting thing. So that, like, for example, what being present means and how it's related to happiness. What do you think? How would you explain it?
So there are various things you can be present on. It's like, are you present of your thoughts? Are you present of your actions? Are you present of your feelings? It's just awareness.
Yeah.
And usually when you are aware of thinking and when you are aware that the thinking is not congruent with your actions, you feel off.
Yeah.
So you either need to be present with those thoughts that are at that moment or with the thing you are doing. So when you are in a negative state or you have a difficult emotion you need to deal with, that you are totally immersed in that emotion and your thoughts are also totally immersed in that emotion, and then you're totally present in that.
When do you feel present?
Well, for me, being present is a practice. I think in the beginning, when I first started learning about being present, that I just thought that you really need to be aware of what you are sensing. And so in the beginning, I really started training that more, like really being visually present, like really looking at trees and really feeling how, for instance, wind would touch my face. And so these are very simple things. which are always there, but can give you some kind of feeling of calmness. But this is not just what being present is. This is just being present of your senses.
Yeah.
And this is also what the book describes, that it doesn't really matter what it is as long as you're present with it. So when you're feeling, totally immerse yourself in the feeling. When you're doing something, totally immerse yourself in the act of what you are doing.
Yeah.
And obviously your mind likes to wander, and this is where you're training. This is what you're training, that your mind stays at the thing, or that you actually, the moment that it wanders, that you pull it back.
Yeah.
And so in this way you're present at your thoughts, like, are my thoughts wandering? And then the training is like, okay, when your thoughts are wandering, just get them back.
Yeah.
At the act. And if you really can't do it, and the thing that you are wandering off to is too important, it is actually more urgent in the present moment, then you can switch your presence towards that, for instance, and just deal with that first.
Yeah.
And then take your presence back to the thing that you were doing.
Yeah. So can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So why would you pull your thoughts back and focus on the now? Why would you do that? What does it bring you?
Like, looking at a tree gives me calmness, and it's not because of the tree. It's also because of the tree, but it's also because I'm concentrated and I'm just focused on one thing.
Yeah.
And so it gives a lot of peace. Yeah. And also happiness. Yeah. And this is also what I found in a video of Andrew Huberman about happiness, that one of the ways to synthesize happiness is just by being present. And it didn't matter. They did a research on a group of people, and they monitored their emotions and their state of happiness, and whether their thoughts were wandering off or not. And it appeared that the people who were present in what they were doing, totally focused, at that moment were happier than people that were thinking about positive thoughts whilst doing it.
Wow. Yeah.
Although thinking positive thoughts during something that you're doing is also making you more happy. Yeah. But being present in the now and being present with what you're doing, even if it was a task that they didn't really enjoy or they didn't deem as very pleasant, it didn't matter as long as they were present. Yeah. And I think that is very interesting. And it's also what the book Power of the Now also tells you, that it's not about the short-term fulfillment, happiness in the now. No, it's about being totally immersed in the now and whatever it brings. So also the unpleasantness.
It reminds me of a lot of things. It reminds me of letting go of resistance, which also can seem to be maybe one of the ways of resistance is your mind wandering into stories, into other thoughts, distractions of everything actually that's going on inside you and around you. Mm-hmm. And it's also it's very interesting that even that people seem to feel more happiness when they are focusing on a task more than if they would solely focus on thinking happy thoughts, like positive thoughts. Because to me, if you really focus solely on thinking positive thoughts, it's almost as if you're forcing it. And meanwhile, when you just be present in the moment, like actually really, for example, drawing. To me, drawing, you just really focus on the thing you're drawing.
Yeah, indeed.
It's almost as if you take a step back of everything that's going on inside you, which at the same time means that everything that's going on inside you, you just let it be.
Exactly, it's a kind of acceptance. Like
Yeah.
you know that what you can't control, and it's everything is just there.
Yeah.
You're just safe enough to be totally immersed in something else.
Yeah.
You no need to be about some kind of trouble. Or
Yeah,
something.
really. Yeah, exactly. Like, try to control something, try to be onto something that doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
But I do think there's a fine, like a silver lining here. That maybe we come across like the misconceptions now is that maybe most people think that being in the now, like being present, means you are being passive and inactive and not taking responsibility of your life happening now and also in the future. Yeah. So the book of Eckhart Tolle is the power of now. I didn't read it. You read it. As I know from you, he doesn't speak as if being present in the moment means you are not taking responsibility for your life in the future.
Not at all. Because if you look at him, I mean, he wrote several books.
He's making the money.
Yeah, he's present with groups of people and earning money from that. At least I think so. And also in his book, he wrote like you can still be stressed, you can still make plans for the future, but when you do that, be totally present with making those plans.
Yeah.
And also when you're doing something very fast or in a rush, be totally present in that rush.
Which is actually really difficult.
Yeah, but this is also what I'm practicing lately, like more.
Like how does being present in the midst of stress and rush feel like? Because it's almost as if the moment I am in a rush and I recognize I am feeling rushed and I need to go, that I'm thinking like I have to do this now, I have to do that. Even the moment in itself I realize it, I already like, oh wait, okay, not so fast, okay. It already it calms down the moment I'm aware of it. So how does that? What does it mean that you're completely present inside of a stressy moment, or inside of a rush?
Well, for me, it's like feeling the sensations in my body, and sometimes almost even putting even more oil to that fire, like okay, like exactly what you're saying, like at the moment you are present of the rush, you already become calmer. And I think the calmness is from the giving in to the rush, because if you have a rush and you have resistance on the rush, like where does the energy is stuck, so it's like But if you're moving along with the energy, you're totally aware of the energy. Wow, then you're like a feather.
Yeah.
You still feel like but the it's like
let's go.
Yeah, I think it's a kind of then your anxiety and your stress can become some kind of life force and some kind of enthusiasm even.
It also reminds me of a lot of different YouTube videos and meditations you have, is that the moment you feel something, you just how do you describe it? Because so this took me a while. It took me a while to when I feel something, when I feel stressed or I'm worried about something, about very practical, like about a presentation I need to give the next day, and I didn't do the preparation well enough, in my opinion, and my time is running out. So I used to want to let go of resistance by forcing myself to let go of resistance, which actually is resistance on top of resistance towards my resistance. So and it's very easy to slide into that, because then it's like, now I feel stressed. Why am I stressed? Okay, so calm down. But for some reason, it took me years. For some reason, at some point, I learned that it actually was I felt way more relaxed when let myself be stressed a little bit. Part of that is feeling it. So what also, that brings me to the next thing, what also helped me along the way is not to start with feeling the stressed feeling, because that can actually get you into more panic. while a lot of people are talking about feel what you're feeling, feel, lean into the feeling, which can be very scary for people. I think what helped me was it was kind of like as if I was feeling something next to the stress, which was a feeling of it's completely okay to be stressed now. Yeah, as if the rush and the stress was completely okay, wouldn't hurt me, would go away, and that the presentation would go completely fine the next day. Which also is related to gaining confidence in yourself, knowing what your abilities are. That is actually what helped me. And then I think second thing is also that being present in the moment, that sometimes you put fire, which is already inside of you, you put fire on top of the fire, and then it kind of transforms in itself. Like for me, the most important thing is to stay away from resistance of what you are feeling in the present moment, and then it transforms itself. So what you could also do is do sports. Anger, like boxing, like you feel anger. Being present actually with your anger is to just like more anger out, like fuel the anger up more, just push, like feel the anger, and most probably more anger will come out once you do it. So, and by time, what you're feeling transforms.
Yeah, when you stop resisting it, and that is also something about presence and the now that I learned along the way, is that healing only happens in the present moment. In the present moment is the only moment that you can transform, because if you are thinking about all these things, you're not transforming. I mean, you can kind of reprogram yourself into thinking differently, but where everything ultimately needs to happen in order to be like, okay, it's real, you need to really experience it. So you need to put it to practice in the now. And if you have had a lot of resistance towards anger or a lot of judgment on anger, then first you need to practice being present with anger. And this is also when you heal from it. And the funny thing is also that your thoughts or your thinking about something, when you're over-analyzing or overthinking, it can trick you into the idea that the solution is in there. And the solution is in just constantly
grasp it. It's over there.
Doing it better, making it like this, or finding that piece of the puzzle that you missed, something like that. But it's all not there.
No.
The moment that you let go of it, you give into it, give into what you're feeling. Maybe you're just anxious, maybe you're just you're very angry, and you feel it and it's gone. And then in the now, the insights just come when you don't search for it.
It's again taking a step back. And how contradicted that feels. That actually is like the opposite you want to do. You want to try to take control. By thinking more, by doing more, being more busy. Being more stressed. But it's actually, it's like literally taking a step back, letting it be what's there.
Indeed. Because that is what is being present in the now is. It's just being. You're not making anything else from what is. So everything that is just what it is. And the moment that you can accept that, this is also usually the moment when you start to get creative. This is the moment when you start to find openness, solutions, people come in to help you or whatever. And also you're able to be present with other people. And this is and to me, this is where the connection lies with healing, like you mentioned now, healing, because you transform emotions. The moment you feel emotions, at least how it was with me, you
when you really give into your anger or your sadness, for example, or your feeling of loneliness. I struggled a lot with sadness and kind of like loneliness, like I'm alone, and that kind of stuff. So that the moment you give into it, you kind of, the moment you give into it means like the moment it sinks into that feeling of it's okay, it can be there, it doesn't hurt you, you're not gonna die, it will go away, so it's actually fine, it's there for now. Just park it, just let it sit there, like just let it float next to you. The moment then it actually I just saw the choices I made out of that feeling. I saw the conclusions I drew because of things happening around me. So you learn a lot about how this feeling that you have been carrying most probably your whole life with you, or big part of your life, what it actually, the influence it has on you and how everything is structured in your life. And that's the moment when you can just decide different things. And to me, that's healing. That's where healing comes from.
Definitely. Yeah, it's a nice description of healing. This is also for a next podcast.
Oh shit!
How to
too many things to talk about.
Yeah, but it's good.
But it's good.
Nice.
It's good. Yeah, it's also very insightful for me as well. I think when you just talk about, that's a beautiful thing about recording podcasts. So And then by time you can transform, because that's why podcast is here. That's why we talk about this stuff, to transform your life, to really take responsibility. You are the one who can make choices differently
in the now.
In the now.
Yeah.
And also the connection between being present and taking responsibility for your future, because you said it also beautifully that the moment you let it be, solutions and insights come, where you can make different choices, which means you are always thinking about a better future. It's kind of an investment. Being present is kind of an investment, like taking a step back and analyzing, like, wait, what's going on inside me? What's going on? What do I feel? So actually really, and maybe not even looking towards it, like, for example, being completely focused on one task, even if it's drawing or something you don't like, completely let it be there, like that you get those insights, which makes you able to make better quality choices in the future.
What I extract from this is that when you can be present in your emotions and therefore analyze them and then take a step back, that's when you learn to be present in emotions. And I think that is very important to not just learn to be present in the tasks that you are doing, because being present in tasks, it's actually being present in anything that you're doing. And indeed, when you're present in your emotions and then your insights come up and etc., the whole process that you just described, and then indeed it's emotionally an investment in your future, because you know what makes you feel a certain way, you know what drives you a certain way, and then you know like what you're doing in the now, what pattern tendencies you have. Because we all have patterns based off emotions. By being present in it and also by being able to bear these emotions in the now, so being present with those emotions in the now, you can break them. And this is only what you can do when you're present, because you can be aware of them. And the analyzation is something that you do maybe at another moment. And this is also what I extracted from your story, that when you learn to be present, you also learn to be very more mindful about your time, because you're like, oh, I cannot do everything at once. For the thinking about my future, I take a moment, I'm totally present with it. In this way, it's also like I'm not going to think about the conflict that I had with that person during, for instance, driving or something. You're just
mindful.
It's being mindful, and it's also like it's definitely an investment in your future, because everything you're doing has so much more substance. Because everything you're doing needs awareness. It needs your attention. And when I'm doing something without my attention, it takes a lot more time. Also, my body feels very different.
Yeah.
My body feels like wobbly because I feel like my body wants to be at several places at a time, so it doesn't really know where it is. Well, if you're present, it's like a bar that raises. You're adding more quality to everything. I really need to get back on the research about this, but I even read or heard that by being present is one of the only ways your nervous system really heals. Which means that even from trauma or whatever, the only way to really heal is being present. When you're traumatized, this is what I noticed from myself, is that it's easy to go back in old stories sometimes. They just start to come up easily during the day, and when you're not practicing being present, they can come intrude you like invaders and just tease you during the day.
Yeah.
And when you practice being present, you know that at those moments you cannot do anything with that.
No. Basically, what I noticed from that is that when you are doing multiple things at the same time, and maybe as a result, for example, maybe what could be going on is that you're stressed already. You're thinking about a lot of stuff, and for how you explained it previously, that you try to take control back, so you think more thoughts, get stressed about more things, that your whole being is all over the place. Like the clearness, thinking clearly, knowing what's going on inside you, knowing if sadness is going on, or loneliness, or anger, or wherever is at the steering wheel, taking over. You can't notice anymore. You really don't know what's going on. Who's in the front, who's in the back, who's driving, who's in control, and where thoughts are coming from. At least that's how I see it. Like a car, who's sitting where? We all know. Everyone is everywhere.
And where we're going.
And where are we going?
I thought we were
crashing downhill.
Yeah.
So that doesn't help. I think the whole talks being present definitely means something, but also is related to different things. Like you can just say being present means you're literally focusing on what you're doing now. Being present means that you're feeling a negative emotion or a positive emotion. You are letting it be, and maybe some insights come. You learn from it. You can connect it to the future. You get a clear mind.
Or just everything that is only there without a narrative.
Without conclusion, without preconceptions. You really just strip everything away. And trust that, again, insights will come, and that by time you let that build up.
Yeah, by that you build trust also, because you experience that the moment that you lose your idea of control.
Yeah. It's funny actually how that for me, my feeling of control over my life and responsibility increased by knowing when to lean back. Yeah. And just be like, let it be there.
It's fun.
Trust.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I
interrupted. But it's funny for the brain because it's like it thinks it can control like that.
Yeah.
But now you say it, I feel like it's so logical that your sense of control gained, because when you are constantly trying to control things through a way that you can't control it, you actually lose more and more control.
Yeah.
So by doing that, you actually lose a lot of confidence because you're failing, because it's not a way of even doing that. And so, it's funny because for myself also, right now, I also have these moments that I find myself thinking about scenarios that never gonna come, same as last podcast. And that you're getting more desperate because you know it's never gonna change where you are trying to change it. So you lose the confidence because you're not succeeding. And that is the only way for me, like how to resolve that is be present, like what is here, like just sometimes just only look at my hands or look at my environment and just see like I'm just here alone.
To me, when I do that, it's like feeling based. I'm not necessarily what doesn't work. It doesn't necessarily work for me to focus on my hands, because then I'm just like, okay, cool, but I still have so much going on in my brain. But it's more as if I know how to tap into that the side stream thing, stream that basically, wow, okay. I think basically what I'm doing in that the feeling that says like that carries everything I feel. So which is saying it's okay, this is there, it's gonna go away, let it be. Actually, what I'm doing there is like I become aware of what I'm feeling by being present and what I'm thinking. If I can get into that part of my brain, when I get aware of what I'm thinking, I just literally throw it into space.
Nice.
I think that's it. I think I just throw it into space. I think that suits you.
Come up.
It suits you to just be in space. This is a nice place for you. Cool. And then really strange things happen in a positive way.
Yeah.
Maybe we have a little bit different ways of being present in that sense.
Yeah, maybe because we have different brain functions that are dominant.
Yeah.
That we just think and experience the world differently. So
of course, yeah, because we're not the same.
Yeah, indeed.
But that's what makes it interesting, because for you, it's like you really focus on the trees and on maybe on colors and your hands and on silence.
Indeed. I need to have something sensible. So for me, sensing things puts a pause to all the things that are usually going on. Yeah. So it's like taking a break from those things.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And for you, taking a break is like
taking a break is actually
visualizing that throwing away.
But it's purely like feeling based, as if you just know, like it has a place. It's fine. It's everything gonna be all right.
Yeah.
Completely all right. Also, sometimes I'm thinking with stress and being worried, it's like this makes me stronger.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But that takes time to build up.
Because
that's also trust and confidence.
Yeah, and that is also more about a knowing and a kind of a perception thing.
Yeah.
That you perceive stress differently.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that is not necessarily about being present. It is more about your perception of the thing occurring in the present moment.
Yeah. And how being present, also what it brought me is that the more I could take a step back and let stress and worry and negative emotions and thoughts be, the more I realized it didn't kill me, and that I learned very valuable insights, which made me realize by time that actually to grow, because I set new goals for myself. I wanted to be better, I wanted to grow, because I'm also a little bit of a competitive person, so I wanted to be better than other people. Nice. So that then I learned that I need to go towards those emotions. I need to go towards them and learn what's inside and learn to overcome them, learn to go through. The only way out is in. That now I'm wired that the moment I feel, again, stress, negative emotions, something, negative thoughts, something like that, I'm actually really able to put that in that basket, that it's okay. Wow, okay, cool. This is actually an opportunity. Like you actually see it as an opportunity. Again, you just throw it there. Like, you can have a nice spot on the wall. There, sit there, suits you, cool, do it, be there. And then hopefully I can learn from you, and I need to go through it, because tomorrow it will make me stronger. It's actually the same as training for me, resistance training. Yeah. So the moment you train, what I would do is bypass the pain, or just pretend as if I didn't feel pain, just like go through the motions and it's done. But the more I felt like, okay, really feel that pain, as if your brain is screaming. Sometimes my brain is, when I'm training with weights, my brain is screaming like, this hurts so much, like so bad. But you need to really breathe into the screaming.
Yeah. Exactly. Breathe. And that's the presence.
And then you learn. Yeah. You really learn. Your body can handle that. Yeah. You just go through 2, 3, 4 more reps, and then you're like, wait a minute. And then you see your muscles grow.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, now I know what to do in the next workout.
Yeah. You build the confidence.
Yeah.
And also, I wanna from this story, I wanna go back to something you said earlier that made me think of something in the spiritual community, and also a misconception that I used to have about being present, or like, no, just a general spiritual misconception is about feeling nice all the time, and that being present is being calm.
Mm-hmm.
This is what how you viewed it previously also. And I think this has been a general misconception for such a long time, because being mindful is always linked to being calm. So we thought that you start by being calm, and then you become mindful, or then you become whatever. So this put a lot of resistance on everything that is unpleasant. And this made us chronically
all flower power, everything is nice as well.
It made us chronically reviews everything negative, and well, which stops us from growing. And I think this is a new concept within the general spirituality of this time, and this is also why we, I think, recently learned more about this and got more into this, because now what you see is that people really start to emphasize on being present in your emotions, being present in the bad feeling. Negative emotion doesn't mean that you need to quit. Something unpleasant doesn't mean that you should stop it. And or that you need to be calm in a situation that is unpleasant. Because why the hell would you be calm if so much shit is going on and you need to get to a solution very quick? You need to think of a tree. It doesn't make sense. No. You need to totally immerse yourself into that thing. And this is where you find your calm, because you know you are there. You know you are there where you need to be. So this is also only moment when you can transform, is when you totally accept where you are, even though you don't want to be there. Because then you can make the choices. Exactly. This is indeed what you also said previously. And this is also where we go back to how it is an investment.
Exactly.
How paradoxically. And this is also from my own this is also a hard lesson that I needed to learn for myself. That the only way to change my future is by being present now with what is now, because this is the only moment you can take a step towards where you want to be.
But how do we wrap this up? How do we summarize this? Because there's a lot going on. So basically,
let us be present in the now.
Oh God. For some reason, sometimes I really have difficulties with the words being present in the now, I think. Because to me it screams bypassing stuff and not wanting to take responsibility for things. But that's also my misconception of being present in the now. To sum it up, I think just being present in the now is just actually looking at what you're doing now, look at how you're feeling now, look at what you're thinking now, and really also the way how you're looking at it. So not judging it, not taking control of it, not trying to solve anything, just taking a step back, letting it be, which is letting go of resistance and accepting things. And from there you can just try to figure out what's behind being present and where it takes you. So I think we have been talking about that it means that you need to have build up some kind of trust in that some negative and hard feelings and hard things is temporary, will go away, therefore it's okay that it's there. What that brings you, next step is that you get insights, you learn how those feelings, where it's coming from, how it has influenced your life, how it's still influencing your life. Behind that, or next step is that you can take different choices in those moments whenever you feel it again in the future, which is also healing. Being present means you focus just on one thing that you're doing or one thing that you're thinking, and leave it at that, because the moment you go on rushed and stressed and you think about more stuff, you try to get control more, which is actually resisting what you're feeling. You everything becomes unclear, and that doesn't help at all with becoming aware again of what you're feeling now, because literally the only thing you have is now.
Yeah, it's always now. It's never something else.
And I think for me, conclusion is literally, if you want to have a better future, if you want to grow, if you want to learn, if you really want to make different choices, that literally fundamentally different choices for yourself, you need to make an investment and be present in the now. So really see being present in the now as an investment to go further in the future where you want to be.
It's a practice, and I think that is what I want to emphasize, that it's a lifetime practice. When I practice it more, I just generally feel better. I make better choices. I have better connection. You make life very simple, and I think this is also where the happiness lies, and where
I want a simple life. Simplicity. That's powerful.
So yeah, that's that.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah, see you next time.
Bye. Oh, een bingo. Boeien. B-O-E-I-E-N. Ting, 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 ting.
Okay, I'm just gonna pretend I'm immediately answering your question.